You are closer than you think to the promise. Hey y'all, welcome to the Chosen Crowns YouTube channel. My name is Denise, and on this channel, I teach you how to apply the Word of God to every area of life. Alright, so today's foundational text comes from Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, and this is the Lord speaking. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And that was the King James Version, but now I'm going to read from the Contemporary Version, which says, At the time I have decided, my words will come true. You can trust what I say about the future. It may take a long time, but keep on waiting. It will happen. Okay, y'all. So these videos that I post are often inspired by things that the Lord is currently teaching me throughout my everyday mundane routines. And this week, the Lord was teaching me delayed but not denied. So let me explain the backstory real quick of how I received this revelation from the Lord. Alright, so it all started on Tuesday. So I was out grocery shopping at Publix, because I'm a Publix girl through and through. So I'm doing my grocery shopping and I get everything off of my list. Check, 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 check. Except one thing, which is the ground turkey that they currently have on sale as buy one get one free. So I go to an associate working in the meat department and I'm like, hey, do y'all have any more ground turkey in the back? And he was like, no, the truck didn't come in. So in my mind, I'm processing all of this and I'm thinking, okay, well, it's Tuesday. The sale ends tomorrow, which was Wednesday, and I'm not coming back here before then because y'all already get enough of my money, Publix. And then there's also the fact that I need this ground turkey to make a meal later in the week. So at that time, it looked like I was denied. It didn't look like I was going to be able to get the ground turkey. But then the associate said something that I didn't see coming. He said, but you can get a rain check when you check out at the cash register. So essentially, I could come back at a later date and get the same deal on that ground turkey even after the sale had ended. And so after a few days, when I needed to go back to Publix, the sale had ended, but I had a rain check, so I was able to get the ground turkey at the buy one get one free offer. And there were several other things that happened throughout my week that were similar to this experience. And it kept seeming like things that I knew I was supposed to be doing were not happening. It was like doors were constantly being shut in my face and I couldn't understand what was going on. And that's when the Lord dropped into my spirit, delayed but not denied. So I went from thinking that I wasn't going to be able to purchase the ground turkey buy one get one free at all, to me now being able to purchase it at a later date. It wasn't when I wanted to purchase it, but nonetheless I was still able to purchase it. And I don't know who this word is for, but somebody out there needs to be encouraged. Because many of us are waiting on promises from God to be fulfilled. And y'all, we've been waiting a long time. A long time. But God sent me here to encourage somebody. Your promise may seem delayed, but it is not denied. It may seem like it's never going to happen. And trust me, I've been there. There are some times during this waiting journey where I've been like, God, this is taking too long. I don't even want it no more. But not so. The promise will be fulfilled. And throughout the Bible, there are several people who received words or dreams or promises from God, and they went through certain circumstances in their life where it seemed like that promise or dream had been denied. You know, when we look at the story of Abraham, God promised Abraham a son when Abraham was about 75 years old. But it was not until Abraham turned 100 years old that he had his son Isaac with his wife Sarah. Now, already from the get-go, if Abraham were living in our days and he was running around talking about God promised me a son, some of us would be like, sir, please take your meds because God ain't promised you that. However, during this 25-year period, Abraham continued to get old. His wife continued to get old. Things began to sag. And I'm sure there were times during this waiting period where it seemed like the promise was not going to happen. However, we know that God did indeed come through on his promise. Or how about Joseph, right? So Joseph was 17 years old when God gave him a dream that Joseph would rule over his family. However, it was not until Joseph was 30 years old that this dream was fulfilled. And during that time frame, from the age of 17 to 30, Joseph was sold into slavery, thrown into prison. And I'm sure while Joseph was in that prison cell, he was like, okay, there's no way that the promise can be fulfilled now. However, we know that God did come through. And even David, right? So David was anointed to be king when he was a teenager. However, David did not officially become king until he was 30 years old. And now that I think about it, Joseph was 30 when his promises were fulfilled. David was 30 when his promises was fulfilled. I'm 30. All right, Lord, let me know now. Anyways, during that time frame that David had to wait, he was literally on the run for his life for years. Saul was trying to kill him continuously, to the point that David had to flee to the land of the Philistines, who were enemies of the Israelites. And just to remind you, David was the one who killed Goliath, the giant, and Goliath was a Philistine. So David had to play crazy just so the Philistines would allow him to occupy their land so that he could escape from King Saul at the time. So I can imagine David going to sleep some nights like, bruh, I was anointed to be king. I'm here in the land of my enemies. Like how? But God came through. And just like God came through for Abraham, Joseph, and David, he will come through for you in your situation. But what we have to do is walk by faith and not by sight. Look at Abraham's situation. Abraham was 100 years old when he had a son. I'm like, God, you couldn't give me a son when I was 99, 98. You had to wait till I hit triple digits. But from the physical realm of things, it looked impossible. And what about Joseph? Joseph was literally in prison right before he was promoted to the palace. He was promoted to the palace from prison. With his physical eyes, things seemed over. There seemed to be no hope. And then David, right? David was in the land of his enemies right as he was promoted to be king. But again, we walk by faith, not by sight. So I say all of that to say, sometimes when we seem so far away from the thing that God has promised us, that is often the time when God will come through. And God is the same God as he was yesterday, today, and forever. The same way that he came through then, he's going to come through now. So I am here to encourage you. If God gave you a promise, if you know that God gave you a promise, it is going to happen. And for many of you, you are closer than you think to the promise. You are closer than you think. All right, so that's all I have for today. I hope y'all were encouraged by this word. I know I was. So until next time, I love you all. God bless. Goodbye.